Would you like to learn how to create your very own Picasso head drawing? I know you're probably going to say, what's a Picasso head, Mr. Smith? Well, it's a drawing of a head that is inspired by the world-famous artist Pablo Picasso. Back in 2019, I did that drawing as one of my earlier videos, and it has become the #1 video on my channel with over 7,000 views. So I said, maybe I should do part 2. So today I'm going to present to you how you can create your very own Picasso head drawing. All you have to do is just watch. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get weekly notifications when my YouTube videos go out. I first started with an oval, and I created this oval on an angle. I used a ruler to put a line down the middle, and right now I am drawing these beautiful eyelashes and tears from this model that was my inspiration for this drawing. Yes, I'm making a Picasso head, but I'm also looking at a figure too. And here we have Picasso flying over top, creating facial features, and I'm making them very large. I'm making lips that are from a side view, 1/2, and 1/2 are from a full view. I've used the nose from a full view on both of them. Now, Picasso, when he makes these Picasso heads, he normally splits them into 2 parts. And I'm doing the same, but when you split them, you still got to have them as one. I like using rulers when I need to make straight lines. I have curving lines, and I also have some patterns happening in the face too. And I'm doing some little Zen doodle type doodles on the chin and just below the cheek. Large hoop earrings. Trying to make a Picasso head that is of today. Now these wavy lines are, I call them my melting lines. And now I'm working on her necklace. And it's almost time to start outlining with my marker. I think I'm just about there. I love his musicians. When I was in high school, I did a drawing and I won a prize because I created a group of instruments that were inspired by Picasso's Cubism drawing. Alright, now as I'm outlining, and then I'm going to start adding color, I want to talk about Picasso. Give you a little history on the artist. Pablo Picasso was one of the most famous artists of the 20th century. You might say, why? It's because he was brilliant at drawing, and people really loved his doodles. Even as a child, he was better at drawing than many adults. He could draw and paint just about anything in any style. He liked to experiment and try out new ideas, which is very important if you're an artist because the world is changing and artists need to change as the world changes. Now, Picasso had all these different periods And I'm not talking about punctuation periods. He had these different styles of art. And the historians categorized them first by the blue period and then the rose period. That's because the blue period, they had a lot of blue in his paintings, and then the rose period had pinks. And then he had periods that were called primitivism, in which he created artwork which was based on the work of a lot of primitive cultures. And then cubism. Then he had classicalism, which is more to the traditional artwork, surrealism, and then he created some paintings that spoke out about war. Alright, we're going to look at cubism because he's most famous for cubism, and the majority of these Picasso heads came out of cubism. So let me explain that to you. Cubism is when an artist paints an object, like say he's painting a bottle. Well, from one view, you're going to see 4 different views or 4 different angles in the same picture. It's almost like you're wearing, those x-ray specs they used to have in the comic books. Well, you're going to see all different views in that one view. Well, let me tell you about where he came from. Picasso was born in Spain in 1881, but in 1904, when he was 23 years old, he moved to Paris because Paris was the capital and it was considered the art capital back then. And he became friends with lots of artists and writers, and he also became friends with the guy who invented Cubism. His name was George Braque. And he became friends with a writer who also collected art, and her name was Gertrude Stein. And he became interested in art from other continents too. He was very influenced by much of the art that came from Africa. I don't know what country, I don't know what tribe, I just know Picasso really absorbed African mass and African sculpture in his work. Now in 1937, the Spanish Civil War broke out, and he created this picture called The Weeping Woman, and it was painted to protest the bombing of a town in Spain. And it's about a woman crying and her face is all mixed up. And this is because it's a Cubist painting. And like I said before, when you have a Cubist painting, you're going to see more than one side. You'll see the left side, the right side, you might even see the back side all in one. One key fact that I left out was that Picasso's father, Don Jose Ruiz y Blasco, was a painter and an art teacher. And at age 7, Pablo began attending the School of Fine Arts in Barcelona, where he studied drawing and oil painting at age 7. That tells me he was a genius. Now, the last fact I'm going to tell you about him is that in his lifetime, he produced over 50,000 pieces of art, including paintings, sculptures, ceramics, drawings, tapestries. That's a lot of work. But I will tell you this, just about any museum you go to, you will find a work of art by Pablo Picasso. Alright, time to get back and talk about my drawing. Well, I've added lots of color. I love the reds, the oranges, the greens, and the blues. but the blacks and whites and grays are very helpful. After I finish working on this eye, I'm going to go in for putting some color. Have these vertical lines. I'm going to throw down some colors into her shirt. And I'm just putting straight color on her shirt. I'm not trying to do any blending. I did lots of blending in the face, around the eyes. Use some other techniques in the hair. I did a little pointillism where I did dots in the hair. And we're getting close. This has been a fun drawing. And I guess you know, I love bright colors. I'm a colorful kind of guy. I like these kaleidoscopes too. Here we have the master on a stamp. Thank you, Picasso, for inspiring us today.